Sponsored by Aura. Welcome to a brand new format. In this format, we'll talk about photos with disturbing backstories. I've compiled a wide range of photos. Some are better known, whereas others are lesser known. For some, the origin might be clear. For others, they remain mysterious to this date. As always, if you end up enjoying this video, I'd appreciate a sub, and let's start. Well, this picture looks very normal. It was the last picture that was taken of Jolee Callan. Disturbingly, it was taken by the person that would take her life moments later. Jolee Callan was a young girl born in Alabama. She had a boyfriend named Lauren Bunner. Well, he quickly became her ex-boyfriend. The reason for their breakup was Lauren. He was extremely possessive during the relationship. According to Jolee's friends and family, Lauren wanted Jolee to spend time with him and his friends only, and would get jealous if Jolee didn't listen to him. Jolee tried to break up with him on numerous occasions, but was unsuccessful since he threatened to take his own life whenever she tried to suggest a breakup. So yeah, it was a very toxic relationship. Eventually, Jolee managed to break free when she was around 18 years old. Jolee decided to date a new guy and was far happier than in her previous relationship. Lauren, on the other hand, was obviously completely filled with anger and hate. A few weeks prior to Jolee going to college, he would call her and invite her to a final meeting to say goodbye before she'd be leaving for college. Jolee complied because she still considered him as a friend and wanted to have some closure after their breakup. Around the 30th of August 2015, they went hiking. They met up at Cheaha State Park in Alabama. During the hike, they mostly started talking about the good parts of their time together, neglecting the bad parts of their relationship. We now start to get into the most disturbing side of this case. Lauren would upload numerous photos of Jolee and her dog Kiba on his personal Instagram page. Knowing of the backstory of these images, it's rather disturbing trying to figure out what must have gone through Lauren's head. He knows that he's documenting the final moments of this poor girl, and he seems to be getting off at the thought of knowing that he has the full power to end her life at any given moment. It's his choice, since he thinks that he owns her, and whenever he feels like it, he can decide to take the final photo of her. Which brings us to this, the final image of Jolee Callan, a backshot of her photographing the forest. It was also a backshot that ended her life. He would then push her lifeless body down the cliff. Surprisingly relaxed and collected, he went back to his truck, sat down on the driver's seat, and called 911 on himself. Around 2017, Lauren was sentenced to 52 years in prison and was eligible for parole after serving 15. Before we jump into the more obscure photos, I just want to state that it has never been so important to be insured and safe when it comes to the online world, which brings us to Aura, today's sponsor. Aura is an all-in-one intelligent online safety solution for you and your entire family that is simple to understand and easy to use. Nowadays, we literally do everything online, yet a lot of us take online safety very lightly. I mean, just look at the platform that you're on right now. The YouTube comments are filled by impersonators and scammers. In 2020 in the US alone, identity theft has cost the victims $56 billion. Overall, 33% of citizens in the US have experienced some form of identity theft. Even well-versed people in the realm of cybersecurity get scammed. Look at Scare Theater, for instance, who had his entire channel hacked for downloading a file to a fraudulent sponsorship, or Jim Browning, whose channel's sole purpose is to expose scams, but he himself also fell for it and got his entire channel deleted, proving that anyone can get scammed. The issue is also the huge facet of online protection, like account monitoring, setting up an antivirus, malware protection, using a VPN in public areas, using different and strong passwords for each platform, etc. Keeping up with all of this can be very tedious, time-consuming, and the cost for all of those apps and services can add up quickly. Aura sets itself apart by being a one-stop shop by providing a financial fraud protection, ensuring you up to $1 million in the case of something happening, identity theft protection, parental controls, as well as device security through antivirus malware protection, a password manager, and a VPN, and all of this through one single plan. To learn more about the excellent service that Aura provides, visit aura.com/Eudoxia or use the link in the description and start your free 14-day trial. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring. In this section, I'll talk about rather unknown obscure, creepy, and mysterious photos. The focus here is rather on the unknown and obscure part. So as for this first one, I want to thank Zeus for helping me. The photo looks pretty creepy, and it's really mysterious at the same time. It was posted on my subreddit a while ago, and it says that they found a creepy missing children screen on an arcade machine somewhere in Dallas, Texas. In the image, we see two boys. Boy on the left is Taj Allen Merriman, who was born on May 17, 1982. Boy on the right is Stephen Philip Curtis, born 3rd of March, 1977. On top, we have a number that one should call if you have any info on these missing children. Reverse image searching of the image leads to a subreddit named Cyberpunk. There we can see a cross post from RWTF stating that they found a 40-year-old ad for missing kids, which appeared on a vintage game machine in a retro arcade. They explicitly state that it is an ad showing on an arcade, meaning people that programmed it were actively profiting off of the disappearance of these children. This is definitely an uncommon feature in arcade games. The Reddit thread also contained a link leading to a different forum. In this forum we can see a post that was made in 2017. Here we quickly learn that this wasn't a one-time occurrence. There are multiple missing children ads displayed on these arcades. The poster also adds, quote, "In the demo mode the screen can show pictures of missing children. This is controlled by dip switch settings. However, there is no dip switch info about it in MAME, and no photos in the game. Attached we'll find 5 different images, 2 of which consist of the ads. This one here is the one that we know about. One more was also added by OP, so in total we have 3 different images. This one depicts Melinda Mary Smith on the left, who was born October 22, 1977. On the right we have April Rose Yates, born March 9, 1979. There's absolutely zero information on Melinda Mary Smith. The only thing that we can find about April Rose Yates is a blog post, which was published on July 28, 1985. There it just states that she is missing and is from Cranford, New Jersey. They also add that she was most likely taken by her non-custodial father, but to this date she remains missing. The second image depicts Daniel Godfrey Owens on the left, born June 18, 1980. And on the right we have Charles Brent Morris, born July 24, 1980. And there is no information on both. As for initial image, the boy on the left has been found shortly after the ad went live. Taj Allen Merriman was found 3 years later after his own family had abducted him. He was safe when he was found. The information on Stephen Philip Curtis is unconfirmed. There is a Stephen Philip Curtis who was born on the 3rd of March 1977, which is the exact birth date that we can see in the ad screen. It says that he had a residence up until 2017. This could mean 2 different things. First, he went missing, was found, and remains safe. Or he went missing, remains missing, and his whereabouts remain unknown, because it's not the Stephen Philip Curtis from the ad. Personally, I think the odds are very unlikely that these are 2 different people, since they were born on the exact same date, so he probably is safe. As for the intention behind these ads, there was an interview with an early developer named Dennis Coble, reading, "Do you recall anything about the digitized photos of missing kids in certain Senti arcade games, and how Senti came to include them? So far, I've only found 2 Senti games, Minigolf and Stompin', that featured them during the attract mode." Dennis says, quote, "Near the end of the game's creation, I recall someone, can't remember who actually, suggesting that we implement the missing children's feature. The interview partner then suggests that the FBI might have requested it, to which Dennis replies that it seems likely that the FBI was involved, but that Senti, the company behind the game, was a very small company who went bankrupt in 1988, so it's somewhat unlikely that they would reach out to such a small company for such a request. Also, if we take a closer look at the images, we can see that there is another company involved, Hide and Seek Foundation. There's basically zero information about this company, so one needs to dig really deep to find something of substance. Through Wayback, we're able to find a magazine from 1986. There's only one page of that magazine dedicated to the company. On this page we learn that this company misused funds that they received through donations. After the investigation, they were dropped as an affiliate by the Missing Children's Network. Personally, I think it's more plausible that instead of the FBI reaching out to Senti Technologies, that it was the Hide and Seek Foundation who was using their funds to promote their missing children ads on arcade machines. However, this is just speculation and it remains a mystery. Same with the whereabouts of most of the children in these ads. This is the final image of 39-year-old Andrew McAuley. This man was on his kayak in the middle of nowhere by himself. Andrew was a man with a clear mission. He wanted to be the first man to kayak from Australia to New Zealand, which are 1600 kilometers across the south of the Tasman Sea. He would make history if he'd accomplish this goal. This area is known for regular stormy weather, so this was extremely risky from the get-go. He estimated the 1000-mile Tasman crossing would take a month, give or take. For a trip of that length in that part of the world, there is no such thing as a weather window, so he knew of the risks. For 10 years, he had been training for this day, completing multiple crossings under terrible weather conditions. He was confident, therefore took on the challenge. Andrew was very successful in his attempt with 120 kilometers left and almost made history, but it was also at this moment that the Coast Guard received a transmission from someone identifying as Kayak 1.
Kayak 1, your signal is muffled. Please repeat your message. Somebody just confirm your kayak is sinking.
Strangely, Andrew's family thought that this recording wasn't anything too worrisome. There were multiple reasons for their mindset. In the recording, Andrew's voice sounded almost unintelligible. It could have been anyone making that transmission. Also, Andrew texted his wife Vicky a few days before, saying he would arrive safely on Sunday. He sent the message on Thursday, merely a day before the transmission happened. Moreover, Vicky was also pregnant, so she really needed to stay positive. With all of this in mind, the recording was quickly dismissed as a hoax. However, they still launched a small search, just in case. After 24 hours, they found his kayak only 54 kilometers off Milford Sound, but Andrew was nowhere to be found. To this date, he remains untraceable. Surprisingly, the video camera that he used to document his journey was found intact in the kayak, giving us an insight into Andrew's mindset and situation.
I'm really worried I'm not going to see my wife again. My little boy. And I'm very scared.
That's what a gale looks like from near the centre of a load. And I was going to start paddling today, but it's getting up a bit too feisty, so I've decided not to. I'm going to tuck back under and go back to sleep for a while.
Got too many things to go back to. I've got a beautiful wife. I had a beautiful son, little Finlay. He's just the most gorgeous kid in the world.
So for this first one, it looks very eerie, and it might be difficult to imagine what the origin of this image is. There's also a black and white version of this image, which looks even creepier. This image was shared on multiple subreddits like rcreepy and rwtf. In the image, we can see a kid sitting on a bed and looking into the camera, while 4 adults in Teletubbies costumes are surrounding him. In the background, there is a Dennis Bergkamp poster, who was a former Dutch football player, and right next to it, images that you would find in a clinic. With everything in mind, we could assume that this photo was taken in a hospital. There's actually quite a bit of information that we can extract based on this image alone. Let's start with the poster of Dennis Bergkamp in the background. If we reverse image search the image, we get to a now dead eBay link. If we look it up through Wayback, we get a hand-designed Dennis Bergkamp poster. Looking at the description of the eBay listing, the seller states that the mega poster is from a mid to late 1990s football magazine named Match. The Match magazine is a British one, so it's likely that the photo has been taken somewhere in England. The eBayer has given us a time frame from 1990 to 2000. Researching with this information in mind, we find a blog post from 2014 where they talk about the Match magazine from the 31st of October 1998. They also attach an image of the poster cover. On the right hand side, we can see that it indeed is the magazine that we were looking for, since it says Dennis Bergkamp Mega Poster. The blog post also mentions Halloween. With all of this in mind, the location of the original image is from the UK, most likely from a hospital and during Halloween. The kid in the image doesn't look like he feels uncomfortable, so the theory is that this is some sort of Make-A-Wish charity event during Halloween, hence the creepy costumes in the image. There are several other images which seem more up to date, and the costumes are very similar, and they'll visit children in hospitals. If we go back to the post on Our Creepy, the OP also states they noticed the photo on a wall in a children's ward of an English hospital under the heading Celebrities Who've Visited Us. What's exactly meant with the heading, I have no idea. The screenshots you're seeing right now are part of CCTV footage capturing the final moments of Timmoty Pitzen before he vanished forever. It looks like a fairly normal scene. A boy and his mom. There is no duress, no sign of any ill intent. But merely a few hours after this footage was captured, the mother booked into a motel and took her own life, leaving a note behind stating that Timmoty is safe but would never be found. On May 11, 2011, Timothy's father, James Pitzen, dropped him off at school. A few minutes later, his mom, Amy Pitzen, picked him up. She lied to the staff, telling them there was a family emergency. Both of them were captured on camera while leaving school. Later, James Pitzen went to school to pick him up, but realized that he was long gone. His wife never answered his calls, and he reported them missing. While Amy didn't reply to James' calls, she would talk to her mother, reassuring her that they were fine and that she'd be home very soon. Amy took Timothy on a 3-day trip to various amusement parks and water parks. Surveillance footage shows them walking hand in hand and Timothy playing with toys, which were also later found by police. This right here are Timothy's final moments on footage. Shortly after, Amy was spotted by herself on CCTV at a dollar store in Illinois. That night, she checked herself into a motel in Rockford and appeared to be alone. The next day, she was found dead, having overdosed on antihistamines. Officers also found 2 letters written by Amy. One was written for a friend and the other for her mom, saying that Timothy was fine and safe, but quote, "You'll never find him." After a very elaborate search across 3 states, police were unable to find Timothy, though police found a concerning amount of blood in Amy's SUV. Investigators concluded that it must have been from an earlier nosebleed, so there was still some hope that Timothy is well, but overall people strongly believe that Timothy is long gone. Years later, on April 3, 2019, police found a shaken and distraught boy claiming to be Timothy. The FBI quickly debunked it by saying that the teenager was clearly not Timothy. To this date, Timothy hasn't been found. We all know what happened that day. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy is one of the most controversial events in American history. While Lee Harvey Oswald was named as the lone gunman responsible for JFK's death, many conspiracies surround the events of that day. One of the most intriguing mysteries is the identity of the so-called Babushka Lady. The Babushka Lady is a nickname given to an unknown woman who was present during the assassination and captured everything on film and photographs. She was called the Babushka Lady because of the headscarf she was wearing, which was similar to those worn by elderly Russian women known as babushkas. The Babushka Lady is a mysterious figure that has puzzled investigators for decades. She was seen on film and in photos taken from several different angles, but no one has been able to identify her or determine what she was doing there. The Babushka Lady was seen taking photos and recording the events of the assassination, making her a crucial witness, but her film or camera has never been found. Some speculate that the government may have confiscated it, but there is no concrete evidence to support this theory. The Babushka Lady was standing near the grassy knoll at Delhi Plaza, a location where many witnesses claim to have heard the shots. Some believe that her film or camera could contain valuable evidence that could shed new light on the case. Some believe that she was a government agent or a member of a secret organization that was involved in the entire operation. A woman named Beverly Oliver claimed to be the Babushka Lady in 1970. She stated that she filmed the entire thing and turned the tapes over to 2 men who claimed to be FBI agents. Her claims were never proven, and it's unclear if she really was the Babushka Lady in the photos and footage. Despite numerous investigations and efforts to identify her, the Babushka Lady remains a mystery. To this day, her true identity and purpose are unknown. While we may never know the truth behind her presence on that fateful day, her story continues to captivate many people that are still looking into this case. In the case of Traxis Alexander, there were a series of multiple images which were taken merely a few minutes from each other. While most look normal and depict him in the shower, one stands out. It's a picture of him staring into the camera, seemingly under severe duress. This was one of the final images of Travis. The case of Traxis Alexander is one of the most chilling and infamous cases ever, and you probably have already heard about it. In this video, we will delve deeper into the case, exploring the background, investigation, trial, and verdict. Traxis Alexander was a successful businessman and devout Mormon living in Mesa, Arizona. He was well liked and had a large circle of friends and family. In 2006, he met Jolee Arias at a conference in Las Vegas, and the two quickly began dating. Their relationship was tumultuous, with many breakups and reconciliations. On June 9, 2008, Travis was found deceased in his home. His life was taken in a very brutal manner. He was stabbed 27 times. Police immediately launched an investigation, and all signs pointed to Jolee Arias, his own girlfriend. Jolee initially denied any involvement, but as evidence mounted against her, she changed her story. She eventually claimed that she had taken Travis' life in self-defense. She alleged that Travis had been physically and emotionally abusive towards her, and that she had been forced to defend herself. Keep her self-defense story in mind, we'll come back to this again. The trial of Jolee Arias was a media circus, with reporters and cameras from around the world descending onto the courtroom. The prosecution argued that Jolee had taken Travis' life in a fit of jealousy after he broke up with her. They presented evidence of Jolee's stalking behavior and her jealousy towards other women in Travis' life. The defense argued that Jolee had been a victim of abuse at the hands of Travis. They presented evidence of Travis' alleged violent behavior and claimed that he had a history of sexual deviancy. The defense also suggested that Travis had ties to the Mexican cartel and that his passing may have been related to his involvement with them. After a long and highly publicized trial, Jolee Arias was found guilty in 2013. The jury was unable to reach a unanimous decision on the capital punishment, so Jolee was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. While she initially claimed that it was self-defense and that she took his life, she would give a completely different story when she got interviewed while she was in prison.
I witnessed Travis being attacked by two other individuals. They came into his home and attacked us both. I'm not proud that I just left my friend there.
You look guilty here.
Two people took Travis's life.
You did not shoot Travis.
No.
You did not stab him 27 times.
No, that's heinous.
I just want to remind you again to check out Aura's 14 days of free trial to see if your personal information has been leaked. Link is down below. Guys, I didn't expect so many people to join on the Patreon. Honestly, there are like so many names now on the screen. I had trouble fitting all of it in. And I'll try to read them out as quickly as possible so this video doesn't go on for like an additional 10 hours. I want to thank the Legend tier patrons consisting of Amy C, Ellen Erbele, Alexander Fairchild, Anastasia, Andrew 906, Babylon Lion, Becca B, Bodie, Brian Cave, Brian Ashaf, Kellen Bowman, Cam the Jellyman, Cameron Mishit, Casey Locke, Cassandra, Chastity D. John, Chris Damp, Christopher, Cortana Nightwalker, Krebs Ugen, Daniel Gildia, Darkner Lowell, Dennis Greasefire, Diamond X Dust, Digital Capybara, Draffy Dillon, Edgar, Evie Meyer, Ghoul Cuff, Jason Gormand, Jeb, Jennifer Gilmore, Jody, John Wick, Jonathan Villarreal, K4S Silver, Castro22, King Cookin, Leda Onet, Len, Lil Roos, Lunarus, Lyra Andromeda, Maria Schoenberger, Mandy Johnston, Matt Overt, MG, Momodunia, Natalie Weston, Nick Castle, Noodles, Paige Brecky, Pip from Wakey, Repside, Riley Bear, Rise FM, Silly Cow, Sumitra Saka, Tequila Mockingbird, Top K, Trip, Uncle Beefus, Vladislav Koshevi, Witch Corpse. Thank you guys, until next time.